McAden about goals and systems, how to set your career off on the right foot in 2024. Now, this is going to be streamed on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. You really don't want to miss it. So if you have the desire to hit or smash some goals in 2024, let's have a conversation about how you can start on the right foot and see those goals being accomplished at the end of the year. I'm going to be looking out for you. I'll see you
there. Happy New Year. Hello friends, my name is Adeniyi Macarthy and I'm your host at the Corporate Life Show with McAden. Our first episode for the year 2024 comes up this Friday, the 5th of January, and hear what my guest has to say.
Hello there, my name is Oluwatoyin Puddicombe and I'm an HR professional and career fitness coach. Now, I'm going to be on Corporate Life Show this Friday, January 5th by 7 p.m. and talking to McAden about goals and systems, how to set your career off on the right foot in 2024. Now, this is going to be streamed on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. You really don't want to miss it. So if you have the desire to hit or smash some goals in 2024, let's have a conversation about how you can start on the right foot and see those goals being accomplished at the end of the year. I'm going to be looking out for you. I'll see
you there. Happy New Year. Hello friends, my name is
All right. Good evening to you. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year. This is Corporate Live Show with McAden. I am your humble host every Friday evening for the past 1.5 years. And some months, I think we've been doing this great presentation here live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on right now we are live on YouTube right now. So if you're joining us, thank you for joining us. Drop a message in the comment section. Let's get to know you. So if you can hear me loud and clear, please drop a comment in the comment section. Let me feel you. Let me know if you're joining us live right now from anywhere, any part of the world you're joining us right now. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's the 5th day of the year. As the year counts down again, we've started running and trying to make sure things. The energy is so high right now, and that is why we're considering the topic tonight: goals and systems, setting your career off on a great start. Now, I'm sure you agree with me that there is no better time to discuss a topic like this than this time. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. And our guest is here in the studio to put more light, put more clarification on areas that may seem dark to you so that you can have a great start in the new year. Thank you very much. Madam Toyin Puddicombe is here in the studio with us tonight, and she'll be sharing great insight. But before then, let me just bring her to the screen so that she can say one or two things. Yes, that's a powerful smile that gets you started well. Yeah, that is a powerful smile. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for holding on till this time. And I know we've been facing some technical challenges at the back end, but then we are here live and direct to commence the conversation. Thank you very much for holding forth. So let me start. Let me start by saying Happy New Year to you. And I think this is the first episode, and you are the first guest on the show this year. And it's our honor, it's our privilege to have you. We are so excited to have you. And based on the topic we're discussing, I think is let it not come from my word. Let me hear. What do you think about the topic for tonight's discussion on Corporate Live Show?
Hi, McAden. Nice to be with you here today. Thank you for making me the first guest. That makes me very excited. I think that it's one of those topics, isn't it, that you tend to revisit at the beginning of a chronological stretch of time, like the beginning of a year. It's just a good reference point for people to know, okay, a year has started. I can begin to track certain things from this time. So I do think it's an appropriate topic. But I think as we go into it, I'll make a bit of a distinction between the difference between a chronological time and stretches or tranches of time, which we refer to as seasons. So while the year has just started, and it's a good opportunity for you to start marking off some certain things from now. The fact is that you may still be in a season that you carried over from 2023. And the focus of every season is to achieve a particular thing, whether which is mostly character affirming or character developing, right? So yes, it's fantastic to mark the beginning of a year as a time to start setting or to start actualizing the goals you've set. But also recognize that sometimes it's not a question of beginning something, it's a question of continuing something that you began before. And the reason why this is important, I'll just summarize because I know there are a couple of things you want to say, is because if you made some progress from last year and you're using the beginning of the year like a starting point, you may lose some ground. So it's important that you realize, you recognize whether or not you're at the beginning of something or you're at the middle of something. So I'll just hand over to you briefly.
All right, thank you very much. It's high time. Remember, this is Corporate Live Show with McAden. I'm your humble host. My name is Adeniyi Macarthy. Every Friday evening, we do this, and we've been doing this for quite a time right now. And we will hope to serve you better this year. And please, if you are watching us from any platform you're watching us right now, remember we have our handles, Corporate Live with McAden on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on TikTok. Yes, we are live. We have our handles across those platforms. So next we'll also be finding a way to go live on Twitter. But right now we are live on LinkedIn, Facebook page, and on YouTube. So join us, and as you join us in this conversation, please drop a comment. But before we go into the conversation proper, just give us some seconds. Let's take this intro. All right. We are back. This is Corporate Live Show with McAden. We're going to continue with the conversation tonight, and I'm sure you guys are ready for the conversation. As you join us, remember, for me to be able to identify you, recognize your presence on the show with us tonight, you need to drop a comment in the comment section so that from the back end here we can get towards extend our greetings to you from the studio. So thank you very much, Madam Puddicombe. Madam Puddicombe, tell us a little bit, and you why career coach?
Okay, well, I think that I can say that I came by it quite naturally. It's one of those things that that come naturally to me. So I don't think at the beginning of my life or my career, I thought I was going to end up being a career coach, because I didn't start off in HR, which is the profession that I'm in now. I started in customer service. I started my career as a flight attendant, and I thought that possibly I was going to build or gain some traction from there. But along the way, HR found me, and I've now been in HR for more than 10 years now. And once, when I go back and I look through how I came into HR, it just something in me that desires to help people find their own way into the career that will form them. And nowadays we recognize that a career is not a job. It's not a particular type of job done over years. It's kind of like a sum total of what you have done with your life. And if you look from the beginning till now, you'll see some common threads that kind of link your jobs from the very first one to this one. But that's not why we're here today. We're here about goal setting. So I started off as a recruiter, and then I built up my competencies, and now I've been in HR for more than 10 years. I have a few certifications under my belt, and I have a platform called Toyin Talks Talent, where I coach young professionals, helping them to discover their talents, to develop them so that they can deploy and demonstrate them either in the workplace or if they're pursuing their own personal ventures. So that's what I do.
All right, thank you very much. along the line of your introduction about yourself, what you've done, and the how you got into HR, and you began to practice HR, and you've taken some certifications, and to prove that you are actually worthy of that space. One thing you mentioned is the fact that you've spent 10 years in that space as an HR professional. And I want to start off with this question number one, because this relates to how you introduced yourself earlier on. How do you align? How were you particularly? I think we should relate this question to you. How were you able to align your long-term career goals with the daily systems and habits that contribute to your professional development, even in that space? And generally, how can someone learn from you?
Okay, so the first step is actually recognizing the goal you want to achieve. Obviously, it seems the easiest thing in the world to do. I want to achieve this, but the truth is that sometimes we mistake the activity for the purpose, or we don't identify the purpose. We tend to look at the activity, not the purpose. So what do I mean? For me to decide that I want to be an HR professional, if I recall, at the earlier part of my career, while I was still working in the airline, I considered what else I'd want to do. Did I want to do cabin crew work for the rest of my life? I said no. I don't think it's something I want to do, because I had in my heart something to do with training and developing people to be able to do their jobs better. But at that time, I didn't articulate into HR. But funny enough, I thought, you know what? Let's even try this HR thing. It's it's a back end sort of work. It involves training, and I started at that point, but I wasn't convicted. My life experiences hadn't really brought me to the point where I found it something to put my energy towards. But later, a couple of years later, after I'd gone through a couple of things and I'd been a bit seasoned, I found myself in a consulting firm, and I was handed a project, which was a recruitment project. And this was the first time I'd ever done anything related to recruitment. I didn't know anything about it. So I was naturally anxious. But as time went on, and with the support of my boss and the help of my team, we were able to successfully conclude that recruitment. Now, I had such a marvelous time doing that, and it was quite a successful project. That was the point at which I was convicted that this was a goal I should pursue. So once I made that decision, it was now a question of how do I build my capacity and knowledge in this space. So I was sent for a certification course, which was a professional recruitment consultant. So I did that. But I recognized, based on research, that CIPM was much more recognized, and we've been around for a longer time. So I set myself a goal to accomplish, get my CIPM certification. It wasn't easy, and I'm not going to lie to you, because at that time I had to deal with managing some pregnancies, etc., etc. I actually did my final CIPM exam when I was pregnant with my third child. So I took my pregnancy into the examination hall, and I was due. So I just had God just help me. The pregnancy waited till I finished my exam. So, but what am I trying getting at? Once you recognize your goal, it gives what is the core, the real goal. Because then for me, it was building capacity in this thing that I was successful in. It motivates you to push through obstacles. That is when you know that this is really a goal you want to accomplish. It's not something that you set arbitrarily. It's not something you set because it's a nice to have goal, or I want to lose weight, or I want to get a new job. You don't do it in a casual way. It's something that involves all of you, spirit, soul, and body. So when you know you're ready to make that commitment, then you know that this is a goal you want to set for yourself. That's what long-term goals.
Wow, interesting. When you are ready to make commitment, then you know you are ready to do the work to get you to achieving that goal. Thank you very much. One of the things you said is the fact that your HR found you, and you were given the opportunity to actually take up a recruitment project along the line of your profession. And let me ask this question, which you take also the next question, so that we can be fast enough to meet up with time, though we've spent so much time trying to battle with technical issues. The question is, in setting career goals for 2024, because now we're in 2024, of course, how do you prioritize between ambitious milestones and sustainable, manageable task? Because it was that task that you were given that took you to that route, and you said, "Oh, I can pursue this."
Okay, so how do you prioritize? The truth is this: if you
Yeah.
have a long-term goal, every
Mm-hmm.
milestone along the path of that goal is
Mm-hmm.
the task that you have to do to achieve the goal. So they're not in conflict to each other. You don't have your long term goal on one side and then you now have tasks on the other side. No, the tasks that you're doing feed into your long term goals. Now, obviously, when you
Mm-hmm.
have a goal, doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be doing anything else. Like, oh, this is the only thing I want to do, and I'm not going to do anything else. No. But you see, the thing is this: if I let's use my desire to have my CIPM certification, for instance, as my long-term goal at the time, because there are a couple of exams you have to take before you get inducted and you become an associate of CIPM. I knew that in order for me to achieve that, one of the things I had to do was I had to ask myself a question: can I study for this on my own, or do I need to join a study center? Now, this was why I was still working. So I had my job. I was still doing recruitment projects. In fact, based on the success of my first project, my organization created a recruitment desk because I was a business development manager. So my focus was on getting recruitment projects that we could run and get revenue from that, and etc. etc. So I had to be doing my job while I was preparing for the exam. So my long-term goal was to get, but in the short term, I had to continue doing my job. So while I was executing my projects, hello, am I still are we still together, Nee? Can you still hear me? Are we back? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. I said, so while I was executing my projects, my day-to-day tasks, breaking, okay, I think we're off. We're not together at this point. So I'll just wait for you to come
No,
back.
don't mind. Don't mind. That is it. That is a transition of the screen. Don't worry about
Oh,
that.
I see. So you can hear me while I'm talking, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you while you're talking.
Okay, so while I was still doing my day-to-day tasks, I recognized that I had to take steps towards my goal at the time. So to help myself, and because I knew that HR wasn't necessarily something I knew a great deal about, I decided to join a study
Mm-hmm.
center rather than read on my own.
Mm.
So I signed up for a study center, which I was attending on Saturdays. But during the week, I was doing my regular job. So I had those short, manageable tasks in alignment with the things I was doing in the short term. And then I had those, I call them milestones. I forget what they call it in project management, but those specific steps that I was taking towards my goal, I was doing that as well. So I was doing those side by side, so to speak. And I wouldn't say that they were in opposition to each other, because I mean the what I was learning while I was in the study center was helping me, in the job that I was doing, so they
Yeah,
weren't
help you
they
perform
weren't kind
better.
of opposed to each other, you understand? But they
Yeah.
have to walk alongside each other. So the important thing is for you to identify those steps and to put timelines to those steps you need to take. So once you identify them, you're able to do them concurrently with your other
Mm.
day-to-day activities.
Wow. Wow. I hope we have audience asking questions. Please, audience, you can drop your questions. And please, if you're watching us right now, remember we're live on Facebook, we're live on LinkedIn, and we're also live on YouTube. We should be live on Instagram too. But then please extend the links to each of these platforms to your friends. Let them join us in this conversation. Is a very important one, and we don't want anyone to miss out of this conversation. And if you have a live question right now bothering you based on what we're discussing, please drop them in the comment section. We'll pick it up and attend to each questions as time permits us to do that. And quickly, I really do not want to go out of the line of questions we have prepared for today, but then your response to these last questions prompted me to want to ask this question. You know what you said is that your daily task we give you direction on I mean we should actually align with your long-term goals so that you cannot, not that you'll not be doing something else, but then for some people they don't have this privilege. They are not able to work in a firm where they are doing what is really in line with their long-term goal. What do you advise for such individuals?
I think that for people who are not doing jobs that align with their long-term goals, you have to create a community for yourself that supports those long-term goals that you have. For instance, I'm an HR professional, and I'm part of several HR platforms. And there you have a number of people who want to transition to HR. Either they want to come in as fresh graduates, or they want to move from a particular career to HR career. Now, if, for instance, as I'm an accountant and I decided that I want to go into HR, my accounting circles are not going to support that goal. So what makes sense is for me to look for HR circles I can join that will put me in the environment that in alignment with the goal I want to set. You can also consider it a bit of a fact-finding mission, because that way I know or I get to understand maybe, I don't know, obstacles in my path, the sorts of things I need to know, the sort of people I need to connect with in order to achieve my goal. Okay. So what I would say is that if your current activities are not aligned with your long-term goals, then you have to find a community or an environment of people containing people who are like-minded individuals with you that will continue to feed you information and put you in the space that are aligned with your long-term goals.
Yeah, I think your response to the last question will take us to the next question, and that will be question 3, if I'm correct. Can you identify can you identify specific systems or routines that have proven effective? Sorry, pardon me for that. Can you identify specific systems or routines that are proven effective in achieving your career objective? And how do you plan to enhance or modify them in the upcoming year? That's the next question.
So for systems and routines, I think the first things I would say before I start talking about, maybe listing or naming or numbering, is that you have to be very aware. You have to be very self-aware. You have to understand the kind of person that you are. Now, based on your personality, you could be somebody who is naturally incredibly disciplined. Not everybody is that way. If you're somebody who is disciplined naturally, you find it easy to set and hit goals because you've given yourself, a list of activities to perform, tasks to do, milestones to hit, dates, times, and you can stick with them. But if you're like me and you're not naturally like that, or you function differently, what I find works for me is that I tend to thrive better when I'm in a group of people who have the same interests. Now, to make it practical, I'm going to give you an example. So some time ago, I decided I wanted to lose some weight. Let's put it that way. As you go older, your metabolism slows down and you tend to put on more weight, or burn less weight, I should say, per time. Burn less calories, sorry, per time. Hello, Nee, do I continue? Hello, are you still there? Okay, let me just continue what I'm saying then. So now, a lot of people will tell you that one of the most challenging things to do is to actually lose weight because you already have these habits. And like we know, habits are things that are ingrained in our brains. You don't actually get rid of a habit, you just overwrite that particular habit with a new habit, but it's still there lurking, underneath the surface. And unless you have a particularly life influencing acts, like it could be a trauma or it could be something that just impacts you emotionally in a strong way, you may not find the strength of will to lose weight because it's pretty tough. But what I realized for myself is that when I'm in a group of like minded people who want to do the same thing and we are accountable to each other, I tend to thrive better in those sort of environments. So this time around, when I decided I wanted to take off a few kgs, I joined a group of people who wanted to do the same thing. And what was very marvelous about that group was that we had to show pictures of the food that we were eating in alignment with the plan we were given, as well as let them know whether or not we had done the exercises that we had been assigned. Now, nobody's going to be coming to your house to make sure that you're doing those things. So there was a little wiggle room in the sense that, look, if you do it, we'll see the results. If you don't do it, you won't see the results. So unless you didn't want to get results, then I mean, you would do what you were asked to do. And I found that that helped me. And the first time that I did it as well, it was still in the same group environment. And I was able to succeed as well. So I identified that system as one that helps me to achieve my goals when I'm in a community of like minded people who are accountable to each other. So that is a system that works for me. The second thing I wanted was the second thing I just wanted to chip in here that when you are setting goals, be sure that the goal you're setting is actually the goal you want to achieve. Now, initially, I thought I wanted to lose weight, but it turned out that what I wanted was to change my eating habits and my relationship with food. I know that sounds very guru-ish, but that was the way it was because I had some habits I needed to put aside. So eventually, when I started changing my relationship with food or how I ate or what I consumed, the loss or the weight loss became a side benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal for me was not necessarily the weight loss, it was to change my eating habits. So once I achieved that goal, I saw weight loss as a consequence of achieving my goal. All right. So be very self aware
Wow.
and know what works for you. That is how you identify the systems that will help you to achieve your goal. I also
Wow.
noticed that I'm quite service orientated. I like helping people. So if I want to achieve a goal, I find a way to make it about someone else rather than me in particular. And because I don't want to disappoint that person, the tendency is that I will get that thing done. So because I know that about myself, I create a scenario where um, helping someone is something I have to do in line with achieving that goal. And because I get to do that, I know that I'm going to hit my goal because it's something I want to do. So I think self awareness is what I would say is the key. In terms of systems and routines, you have to find the one that works for you. People who will tell you this is what I did, and then you try it and it didn't work for you, it's not because they were wrong, it's because they found the system that worked for them and you just haven't. So when you do find a system that works for you, then you will achieve your goal. But I think that having someone you're accountable to generally works. So if you have an accountability partner, it raises or increases the probability of you achieving your goal.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. That is well explained. And then we want to be sure that we are able to reach out to as many people on this show tonight because of the importance of the topic we're discussing. Please extend the links to your friends, let them join in the conversation. And if you have questions, please drop in your question. Because of our time, we may not be able to start taking the questions right now, but drop those questions, drop your comments, your opinion, your suggestions. And remember, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And we have our platform across about 5 different platforms. We have our handles across 5 different platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So please, you can follow us on all those social media platforms. The handle is Corporate Live with McAden. Corporate Live with McAden. Thank you very much for staying tuned. For those who have been with us, and if you're going to be watching us in the future, please remember to follow us on each of these platforms. and with the conversation we continue shortly after this short break. All right, we are back. We are back. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for staying tuned. And we want to continue with the conversation. Question number 4 to Madam Puddicombe is I want to understand how to identify specific systems or routines that works for individual. What role do adaptability, and resilience play in adjusting your career system? Because what we're focusing right now is systems for your career development when unforeseen challenges arises.
Okay, so I'll say a few words and then I'll use an example from a personal example. Um, the truth is that one of the reasons that the goals we set are not achieved, or we don't achieve the goals we set, is because I've mentioned one, we set the wrong goals. We don't know they're the wrong goals when we're setting them, but we set them, and then because we didn't identify what was lying behind the goal, like I mentioned, my weight loss as opposed to changing my eating habits type of thing. So we set the wrong goals. Then another reason is because we set the goals for the wrong, we set them for the wrong reasons. So it could be that somebody said that I did a vision board, and then I just decided I wanted to travel that year, and I put pictures of the places I wanted to travel in on the vision board, and then I ended up traveling to all those places. And then you're smiling because you've heard it before, right? Then you now decide that you're going to just do your own vision board, and you're going to paste those things there. You don't know the process that took the person to that point. You don't know what had happened, what changes had gone in, within, what life experiences has shaped them to the point where they could do that thing. So it's not just the action per se. There's a build up to that action. Okay. So and then another reason, if you don't have enough information, and this is the one that I'm going to share about. So about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2021 or so, I decided that I wanted to pursue a master's degree. A master's degree. I mean, I've had all these certifications, all these accolades, etc., but I didn't have a master's degree yet. And one of the things that has stopped me there was because I decided I wanted a foreign master's degree. I didn't want a local one. Not because of anything in particular, it was just what I wanted. All right. So my first hurdle was deciding whether I wanted an MBA or I wanted an MSc or an MA. So there was a bit of back and forth on that for a little bit. But even though I'd made up my mind that I wanted that degree, I hadn't made up my mind what sort of degree I wanted. And of course, time was passing. So if 2021 went without me getting the master's degree, I can look at it and say, oh, I didn't achieve my goal. But if I made the decision of which one I wanted, I achieved one step that was taking me closer to my goal. Do you see? The next step was which school did I want to go? And then how was I going to fund it? So those are two other questions. So I spent some time doing some research, testing and trying a couple of things. Some of which didn't work out, etc., etc. So I never really built traction on that as well. But one thing was for sure was that the more information I gained, the better I understood why things were not working the way I wanted them to work. Did I achieve my goal? No. But did I get more information to help me better articulate my goal? Yes. It wasn't until 2023 that I came across a school that would suit my requirements because I didn't want to leave my family, So I wanted to do something online, but that was a quality education. And then I came across one that works for me. I applied and I was awarded a full scholarship. Now, the process that took me from the beginning when I first made the decision and when I finally achieved the goal, it may have taken me a while, but there were different levels of enlightenment, say, and clarity that came along the way. Now, as I'm talking to you, I'm sure of what I want, why I want what I want, what I want will achieve for me, apart from professional development, even in terms of my life goals. And so I am completely sure that I am where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to do. So some of those things, where you actually have to clarify or have or properly articulate the goal you want to actually, the goal your heart really wants, are some of the things that happen that make you feel like you're not making progress when in fact you are. And when you, and at the point where you begin to understand these things, you are adapting, you are amending, you are adjusting. You are beginning to see, okay, this can work, that can work, this can work, that can work. And then you begin to shape your goal accordingly. In terms of resilience, it's mostly mental and emotional, because along the way, you may find that some of the steps you took just didn't pan out. There were some scholarships I applied for that I didn't get. And when I got the news that I didn't get the scholarship, trust me, it was devastating. Especially because at that time there was so many few challenges at my place of work, and I was hoping that that would be like a relief or a way for me to handle my professional pressures at the time. So when it didn't work out, I was devastated. I mean, very discouraged, almost threw in the towel and say, why bother? And but at the end of the day, it was what I wanted. And one setback wasn't enough to stop me from achieving that goal. So adaptability and resilience play a very, very bigger part. But once you accept
Hello,
that you
can you hear me?
may have to
Puddicombe,
adjust
can you hear
your
me,
goals.
please?
Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear
I
you.
think we
Can you hear
lost
me?
over there. We are sorry. We're sorry. Why she tried to regain a network back. I mean, why she tried to return back to the studio. I want to quickly use this opportunity to extend greetings to those people that have joined us on the conversation tonight. And it's been a quite a number of people, but few of them I'm able to see here. And as many of you keep joining the conversation, please drop a comment. That's the only way I will be able to see you if you're joining us live right now. So please, thank you very much for joining us. I can see Afolabi Babatunde. Yes, Afolabi Babatunde, thank you for joining us tonight from Facebook, I guess.
Hello? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Nee, can you hear me? I'm here. I can hear you. I can see you. I can't hear you, rather. I can see you. Okay. Hello, Innocent. Fantastic. It's great to have you here, Innocent, as well. I don't know if you can hear me. Nee, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Are you back now?
Okay.
Can you hear me
Okay.
clearly?
Fantastic. So I was concluding my thought by saying that you have to accept from the start that you may have to adjust your expectations based on information that you gain along the way. If you are rigid and refuse to adapt based on new information you didn't have from the beginning, that is when you may give up and decide, look, this goal isn't worth pursuing. But the knowledge you may have in the beginning may be limited. And then circumstances, I mean, things change. The economy, I mean, right now we have about 1,200 naira to a dollar. That wasn't the case last year.
Exactly.
Could you have predicted that? Maybe to an extent, but could you have predicted it that it would be at this level? Perhaps not. So imagine you've been saving money towards something that you want to do outside the country, and things change this way. You're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to adapt. You know, you're going to have to explore other ways of achieving your goal. You understand? So some things are unpredictable. So you have to have that in mind, that things are going to happen that may affect my ability to achieve this goal. And I've got to know that that may occur and be ready to deal with that. Right. But at the end of the day, just take responsibility, just take ownership of it. And know also that you may have to pend that goal in the short term. You may have to put it aside in the short term and then pick it up again when circumstances favor you achieving it. It doesn't mean you've given up. It just means that you recognize that there's more you have to do before you continue on your path to achieving that goal.
Interesting. Understanding time and season. That's what that last statement implies. Understanding time and season, and how to adapt to what, to the privileges of the time, what the time is presenting to you as an individual. Thank you very much, Madam Puddicombe. You've done so well in tweeting all these questions. While you were off for some seconds, I took some liberty to what, to quickly associate with our audience online, and a few of them have mentioned their names already. And the last person here that was trying to reference on is Innocent Udo. Coming back to your questions, everyone, for your questions, if you have anyone that will be able to answer your question later on. I also see Justina Oyedeji is here with us also. Thank you very much, everyone. You can see what's the name of this? Okay,
There's Beatrice,
this Danny. Is Adedeji.
Aishiata.
Quite some of them. I see some of them anymore on my own side, so I think you can see a few of them at your hand. But then we appreciate those of you that joined us in this conversation tonight. Please do yourself a favor, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, so that you can get more insightful information from Corporate Life. What we do at Corporate Life is to ensure that we bring up-to-date information that will help you grow in your career pursuit, and also in other aspects that will indirectly or directly affect your career goal set. That's why it is called Corporate Life Show. And with who do you think that show should be? With none other person, myself, McAden. My name is McAden. Thank you very much for staying tuned to this period of the hour of the day, and listening to us, and letting us educate you. Myself, I'm being educated by what Madam is sharing with us right now. But then we'll quickly go back to the questions because of our time. We want very fast in approaching those questions right now, Madam. Please help us so that we can those questions as fast as possible so that we can beat time, please. And if you're joining us right now, do your friend, invite them to the show by sharing the link with them right now that we're live. Tell them, join us. We are live on the show. This is Corporate Live with McAden. This show takes place actually every Friday evening. We to discuss different topics, and tonight we're discussing goals and systems. Goals and systems. Career off on a great start in 2024. And what time do you have to now? Madam, quickly, how can you leverage? That's the next question. How can you leverage technology and innovation to optimize your work process and propel your career forward in the rapidly evolving landscape of 2024?
Okay, so since we're talking about goal setting, I'll talk about some of the technologies that you can leverage. Because these questions sometimes they sound very, very hard to access. The truth is that if you want to set a goal, you can use simple technologies, you can use complex technologies. It depends on what works best for you. So, for instance, something as simple as a to-do list. It's not a high-tech technology, but it's a technology you can use for your not just your short-term, your day-to-day tasks. So if, for instance, I've decided that one thing I want to do to achieve a goal of maybe, say, weight loss, since we've been talking about that, is to make sure I eat a fruit and a vegetable every day. So on my to-do list for that day, I have eat fruit, eat vegetable. And because I'd made my to-do list prior to that, I would have purchased the things I needed and put them in my fridge. So that's a simple technology you can use. You've heard us talk about vision board. That's another simple technology you can use. A vision board helps you to see the things you want to do in a visual representation of the things you want to do. And you're looking at it day by day on your wall, a prominent place. So it kind of speaks to your mind and reminds you that you're aiming for this, you're shooting for this, and automatically your internal system is adjusting to align with that goal you want to achieve. You can use technologies like your Evernote on your phone, or all these Todoist and other organizational tools, apps that you can download from your iStore or your Google Play Store, and you key in those things. You can even use your calendar. If you set a timeline for yourself in for a month, for instance, you set that alert on your calendar: eat fruit, eat vegetable, eat fruit, eat vegetable. Or if you say that by February 2024, the end of February, I should have done this, you put
Yeah,
a
I think we
reminder,
lost
maybe
Madam
2 weeks.
Puddicombe again.
Can
I
you hear
hope she
me,
returns
Nee?
back on time so that we can run off the program for tonight. It's been a long
Hello?
conversation. Then, yes, okay, you're back, man. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Honestly, I didn't lose you. I mean, I could hear you even while you said you couldn't see me. I don't know, but I could hear you.
Okay, you froze for some seconds.
Mm. Okay, I see. All right. So I said that I was saying that even an organizational tool, an app, you can download an app. Your calendar, yes, I was talking about your calendar.
Yes.
Just set reminders in your calendar. Maybe 2 weeks into January, you send a reminder. End of January, another reminder. Middle of February, another, to remind yourself that at the end of February, there's something you want to do. So those are simple tools and technologies you can use to keep yourself on track. And of course, like I always say, your accountability partner is one tool you can never it will
You can
always
never
be
do
helpful
without.
when you have someone,
Yeah.
yeah, that will check up on you and remind you that you're shooting for something.
Yeah. I think that we also want to emphasize on the fact that accountability partner is very, very essential for every goal setter, everyone who sets one goal or the other. Sometimes even your calendar, you may not feel like
Hello? Nee, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
let's just move on straight to the next question because of our time. The next question is um allow me for some seconds. Just let me retrace myself. Okay. The next question is when establishing goals, how do you strike a balance between uh, personal fulfillment and professional success, considering both intrinsic and extrinsic motivators? What do you do? How do you manage that?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I found that question very interesting. I find it very interesting because
Hello,
I
man. Can
really
you
don't see how you
hear
can
me?
divorce. Yes, I can hear you very well. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Nee? Hello, can you hear me? I can hear you. I can see you. Can you hear me? Okay, I don't know
Hello,
if
can
the
you hear me?
audience can hear me, but I'm just going to continue talking in case so you catch up. So I was saying that I don't see how you can divorce personal fulfillment from professional success because one invariably affects the other. If you're succeeding professionally, but your personal life isn't doing well, your professional success is going to be hollow. You're not going to count it as anything because the personal fulfillment is lacking. And if you since your career is an inherent or an integral part of yourself as an individual, if you're not succeeding in your career, then I don't see how you can be fulfilled personally. Nee, can you hear me, please? Hello, Nee, can you hear me? Am I back? Can you hear me
Yes, I can
now?
hear you.
Yes, I can hear
You're
you.
back.
I can hear you.
Welcome back.
Okay, fantastic. So let me
Oh,
quickly
all right.
summarize
Thank
this
you.
thought. I was saying that I don't see how you can divorce personal fulfillment from professional success. Because if you're succeeding professionally and you're not personally fulfilled, your success in your profession will be hollow. And because your profession is a very integral part of your makeup, if if you're not succeeding in your profession, you won't be fulfilled personally. Okay. So I don't see you putting those in separate boxes where there are parallel lines that don't meet. I think they integrate into each other. So one way or the other will affect the other. And you're not going to make a lot of progress in one if the other is not intact. So I think that both of them have to be aligned for either of them to work the way you want it to.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you very much for that short response. That was brief and precise. You can't separate either success because it has a way to what to boost either way. For your it's still for your it's still going to be for your own enjoyment, and in the long run no one is taking the benefit from you. All right, quickly, thank you very much. It's been a long conversation. Then we are some minutes past 8, the hour of 8 o'clock, and since we didn't start on time, so we have that minute left to what quickly wrap up this show for tonight. Reflecting on the sorry, going to the next question, trying to be sure I'm on the right track. Okay, okay, reflecting on the past achievements, how reflecting on the past achievements, how have you how have your goal setting strategies evolved, and what lessons can you apply to refine your in 2024?
Oh, well, okay. So I guess one way I would summarize that is where Paul says in the Bible that when I was a child, I thought as a child and I acted as a child, and now I'm a man. As you evolve in your career, as you grow as an individual, your desires will always change, which means that the higher you go, the more lofty your goals tend to be because you recognize some things about yourself. Maybe along the line, you found out that, look, you can achieve anything you set your heart to. You didn't know that in the beginning. So you set low bars for yourself. And then along the way, you gain that confidence to know that you can do more and be more. You begin to set loftier goals for yourself. All right. So as you develop as an individual, as you grow as a person, as a professional, the things that you want change, and then the things that you shoot for also change. I can tell you, for instance, that when I started my career, and I was all about the impact, and the way the impact looked to me at the time is different from the way the impact looks to me now. So it's the experience I've gained and the things that I've learned along the way that helped me to recognize that there's some certain pathways to making the kind of impacts I want to make. And so it adjusted the kind of goals I set for myself. Okay. And so I think going into 2024, understand that as you evolve as an individual, the things that you want begin to change. And because of that, the goals you set for yourself before might look too attainable. You want something more. You want something different. Okay. So bear that in mind, that as you change, your desires change. As you grow, your desires grow. Things begin to look different. Of course, the more you understand yourself, the more convicted you become of certain goals. You just know that those ones aren't going to change, you know. But if you change, you evolve, reassess the goals you set for yourself and see whether they need to align with the person that you are today.
All right, thank you very much. As you grow, your goals will change because your desires also changes. Quickly, let me quickly ask this question in the context of networking and relationship building. How do you integrate these elements into your career systems to foster meaningful connections and opportunities?
Wow. I think that goes without saying. And I'll quickly use an example because I think that's more practical. So when I decided to become more involved in the HR space, and that was as recently as 2019, I set some tasks for myself, some steps to achieve that goal. I decided I was going to attend several networking events. Some of them were paid, some of them were free. I decided I was going to align myself with certain individuals. And I recognized, in the beginning, I mentioned I'm a service oriented person. So my entryway into getting close to those individuals was supporting their own dreams and their own visions. So I would volunteer for their own projects. And by virtue of volunteering, I was able to get closer to them, one. And two, they were able to assess my capability because they saw me in action, so to speak. And that was the way through service that I got close to some of the better known or influential personalities in my space. And I cannot begin to describe to you how some of those endorsements uh, have helped grow my own platform, and even me as a professional, opportunities to jobs and things like that have helped me. So I don't think that you can pursue any goals without including the people factor into it. Nia, are we together? Are we still here? Hello? Can anyone see me, please? Can the audience hear me? I'm not quite sure whose network is acting up here, whether it's mine or it's Nia's network that is acting out. So it would be helpful to know from the audience if you can hear me. Nia, are we back? Hello, Nia, are we back?
Yes, we're back. We're back. Sorry, pardon me for
Fantastic.
that.
Did you hear?
Abs-
Do I have to repeat myself, or you heard my response to your question?
okay, I think I can only speak that from the recording anyway. Because of our time, I want us to wrap up the conversation. So
Okay.
I believe the audience are getting the flow of the what responses to each of those questions that have been asked already. Let's quickly move on to the next question because of our time, and I do hope that audience, please, if you have those questions, maybe Madam Puddicombe will help us go come back to the chat box and respond to those questions as much as she could. But then, because of our time, we may not be able to respond to each question at a go. But then, it's been a fantastic conversation. It's been an eye-opening conversation, and I believe everyone has enjoyed herself listening to us having this conversation this night on the show. And remember, this is Corporate Live Show with McAden. With me tonight is Madam Puddicombe, Oluwatoyin, an HR professional who has done well in her career to help us understand how to how goals and system settings help you set off your career on a great start for the year 2024. And that's what we've been doing all this while on the show tonight. And because of our time, we'll just move on to the I think we have just two questions left. Okay. Reflecting on let me just go to this question because of our time. Let's just wrap up the show. How do you measure progress and success in your career system? And what adjustment might you make to ensure continued growth and fulfillment is achieved?
So you're saying that how do you measure progress in your career systems? Can I get the question, please?
Yes. Okay. In a minute.
You said
The question is
how
coming
do
to
you
us.
measure progress along the line of achieving your goals? Is that what you mean? Okay, so I think
Yeah.
me- hitting on milestones I think are a sign of progress. One, if for instance you set a goal and you have 3 steps to achieving that goal, every single step you hit along the line of achieving the goal is a milestone. So it shows that you're making progress. That's number one. Number two is as an individual, you feel that you're able to handle more things. The things that used to intimidate you don't intimidate you anymore. You volunteer for bigger tasks, and essentially you're able to do things that you weren't able to do before. So if you find that you're able to do them, you're bolder, you're more confident, you're attempting different things that you may possibly used to avoid, it signals to you that you are growing. Now, in terms of measurement, can you say, oh, I used to be a 30% and now I'm a 60%? It's possible you may not necessarily be able to do that. But you can't say that before I couldn't do this. Now I can do that. I'll give you an example. There's some jobs possibly where you looked at the JD, you say to yourself, man, no, this is not for me. I don't think I can do that. So imagine now, maybe a year, 2 years later, you see something similar. You feel confident, like, you know what, I may not know everything, but I'm going to give it a go. That alone tells you that you have made some progress in developing as an individual. If that was I mean, that tends to happen when you achieve your goals anyway. You evolve as a person. So things you couldn't do before, you can do them now. That's one way you can measure. And then second way I said was the milestones along the path of hitting your goals. You are hitting those milestones and you're crossing those things off your list. So that's some ways you can measure your progress in line with achieving your goal. It also depends a lot on what the goal is, right? If, for instance, I wanted to meet Aden in person, you know, it was a goal for me, and then they have a physical event, and I just decided I'm going to show up, and I meet you in person. I've achieved that goal, haven't I? So it's also dependent on the goal. But then remember, always celebrate your quick wins or your small wins, because every small win that you're able to achieve gives you a boost of
Mm.
confidence, a pat on the back, if you will, that, oh, if you're able to do this, let's move into the next one. Which is why it's important to break your goals into smaller steps. Because if you keep on seeing the big thing, it's likely that you may be intimidated. But when you break them into smaller steps, and as you achieve those steps, you're able to tick them off the list, it gives you the energy and the motivation to move to the next one.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much for that response. Please, celebrate your small wins and never can. I mean, don't look down on those achievements, because those are just little ways you are changing, and changes doesn't occur. And I think that's the miracle
Not
mindset
immediate,
that a
yeah.
lot of people have. Maybe one of these days we'll discuss miracle mindset against your growth. How miracle mindset affects your growth level,
Hmm.
because that is another way that professionals are. I, I don't know the right word to use to explain what I mean by that. But then I think one of these days we'll bring up a conversation around that. But as we wrap up the conversation for tonight's show, the last question, but not the least, is what we have on the screen for you, madam. The question is, considering the intersection of personal values and professional aspirations, how how can you ensure that your career goals align with a sense of a sense of purpose, because a lot of times people ignore that purpose condition to whatever they are pursuing in life, with a sense of purpose, and contribute positively to your overall life satisfaction in 2024?
That's completely dependent on you. Because if you know your purpose, you know the thing that resonates deep within, something you want to achieve, and you take decisions in the short term to service other needs apart from your purpose, there are two things. You are either giving up on what you want to do because you feel there's too much pressure, or you recognize that this is a detour I'm taking temporarily because of this other um, more immediate goal I want to achieve before I continue. Because it's a detour, really. It's not like you're not working towards the goal anymore. You're just taking a different pathway. Let me give you an example. Imagine, like I said, I said previously, I'm an accountant, but I want to be an HR professional. And I know that part of what I need to get some certifications, and they tend to be expensive. Now, a job opportunity has come up, and it's an accounting job opportunity, but it's going to pay me more and give me the money that I need to be able to achieve my long-term goal. Will I say because I want HR, I'm going to say no to that? I could decide to do that and get the money some other way. But I could also decide and say, look, if this job is going to give me the money I need for my long-term goal, let me take it and get the funds that I need to service my long-term goal. What that is the detour. It's not you saying that, oh, I mean, unless you give up, as long as the dream is alive in you, then you've not given up. You've just said that, look, this is a digression that's going to service a specific, more immediate need. And then once I've serviced that, then I go back on track. So in terms of career goals aligning with your purpose, you are the only one that can know that. Because externally, I can look at you and say, oh, that's so sad. He or she has given up on their dream to be an HR professional. But internally, you know that it's just a detour, right? So you are the only
Yeah.
one that knows whether the career goals you set for yourself are aligned with your purpose. That's what my opinion.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And that is where we'll wrap up the conversation tonight. Please pardon us because of our time. We may not be able to take questions. I don't know. Madam Puddicombe, is there any last word, maybe from any of the questions you've scrolled through, and you feel like you want to just quickly and I mean tackle that question, clarify the hair, so that we can close the chapter for this conversation for this week?
Okay, I think the last thing I just want to leave people with is it's one thing to say to yourself, oh, what I mean is, it's worse for you not to set any goals at all, right? Than to set goals and not achieve them. Because if you don't set goals, then there's no guiding light, there's no focus, there's nothing that's attracting your discipline. Are you here, Nee? Nee, are you with us? Are you back?
I'm
Can you hear
here.
me now? I was saying that
Yes, I've been here.
in conclusion, I would say that it's better to set goals and not achieve them than not to set goals at all. Because the goal is a guiding light. It's like a focus that demands from you the discipline, that demands from you, coming to a higher version of yourself. As long as that thing is before your eyes, no matter how challenging it is for you to even get started sometimes, it's always going to make you want to do something. So set goals, recognize that you may need to change them along the way, but don't allow your external circumstances to prevent you from setting those goals in the first place. I think that's what I'm saying in
Thank you
conclusion.
very much. Yeah, it's been a wonderful conversation. Set goals, but don't allow those circumstances on your way deter you from fulfilling that goal. So thank you very much. It's been a conversation tonight, and it's a privilege. It's a privilege for me to have you once again on Corporate Life Show with McAden. When you said yes to what, to being here live with us on the show once again, the first show of the year and the first weekend of the year where people want to actually continue in their merry mood, you decide to share, and I so much appreciate that for what you have done for us on the show, and for the audience who join us on the conversation. Please, if you want to enjoy more and more interesting content, that life-changing content, please follow Madam Puddicombe on LinkedIn, where she posts a lot of interesting content that will inspire and help you grow in your career journey. So please follow her. She's there live on LinkedIn, and I think she's also live on Facebook and YouTube. So she does all these programs on this platform. Please follow her. And there's a program you are actually that is currently on. If I'm not, if I hope I'm correct with that information. Please, can you say one or two things about that program? LinkedIn Challenge something. Yes.
Oh, okay. So what we decided to do this year, what I decided to do this year was to help people find their voice on LinkedIn. I find that so many people are intimidated by being on LinkedIn, or they've built this idea of what being in LinkedIn means. And the truth is that all you have to do is to have a clear purpose and understanding of what you want to achieve by being on LinkedIn. And so I decided to handhold some individuals to help them achieve that. So we're in the process of getting that done now, and we've made some progress. And at the end of January, we'll talk about some of the wins that we had from the LinkedIn challenge. So you guys can look forward to that.
Okay. Okay. Can people still join the current cohort?
Well, yes, you can. Though we're just in the first week of January, but the version that we are in now is the paid version. We had a free version earlier that people participated in, where we just sort of gave them the tools they could use. But the paid version is the one where I'm coaching people one on one. So if you want to be part of that,
Okay.
send me an email at toytalkstalent@gmail.com, or you can send me a message here on LinkedIn that you're interested in joining the paid version, and we'll give you the details and set you up. But obviously, because the month is passing, so the time that we have, the grace period is kind of closing. So the sooner you reach out to me, the better, so we can get you set up and help you to achieve your LinkedIn goals for 2024.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. You've heard from her. So you want to achieve your LinkedIn goal, reach out to her for more information about that. And it's been a wonderful conversation here at the Corporate Life Studio. With me in the studio tonight is a privilege for me to have Madam Puddicombe discussing goals and systems, setting your career off on a great start in 2024. And from this end, we want to say bye bye to everyone for joining us on the conversation. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.